Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And I know a lot of people out there are really concerned about the future right now, but don't worry. I'm still going to continue doing my show, continuing to review fantasy worlds and the proper escapism they provide. On that note, today's movie is Dredd, the second movie based on the Judge Dredd comic book franchise. You remember the one about the dystopian future with a cursed Earth and megacities suffering from rampant crime and riots, so the authoritarian regime creates the most extreme police state possible, with street judges who act as patrol officer, judge, jury, and executioner, all rolled into one. Well, the point is, while Dredd sought to be this huge, massive, mega-hit movie, and wasn't, the idea they had with Dredd was to be a lot more faithful to the source material, while reimagining quite a bit of the aesthetics. While Mega City 1 is much closer in description to what it was in the comics, the overall look of the movie is very muted compared to the 90s flick. It does look futuristic enough, but it's also grounded very much in the gritty pseudo-real style made popular by Nolan's Batman movies. But Dredd never removes his helmet, so that's far more important than his clothes, his bike, and the city not looking like they did in the comics whatsoever. But you win some, you lose some. The story is also much smaller in scope than the 90s movie. Rather than being a huge world-changing event going through Dredd's family history and the politics of the chief judges all over Mega City and into the Cursed Earth, this time the majority of the movie takes place on a single mega block over the course of one day. Dredd has a crime to stop, and it's so tough they made a movie out of it. But is it a good movie? Going by half the comments on my Judge Dredd review, yes, but let's take a look at Dredd and see for ourselves. The movie opens to a quick summary of the setting. Seems most of the Earth is uninhabitable because of radiation and shit. However, that just means the whole of civilization is concentrated in mega-cities, such as Mega City 1. Despite its insanely high population per square foot, it stretches all the way from Boston to DC. Problem is, despite having more than enough manpower and massive unemployment, for some reason or another the police force is tragically under-equipped to deal with the occasional street wars that break out. Thus, turn your few police into super police, and you have the setting for this movie and the backdrop for our lead character, Judge Dredd, played by Carl Urban.
Dredd to control. In pursuit of vehicles, Sector 13. Driving erratic. Suspects are under the influence of narcotics.
Well, that or they forgot you're only supposed to play Mario Kart Switch in the backseat. No, they actually are on drugs, and not the boost mushrooms either, but weapons-grade asthma inhalers that cause the users to see all sorts of nifty special effects. That's all well and good, but the important thing is this means the movie breaks right into a chase scene. Being an action movie, we can be sure that they weave in and out of all kinds of traffic, but it's okay. Innocent civilians are immune in situations like this. Jaywalking. Still, these guys in the van are driving too fast, and Dredd can't have that, so he just shoots the fucking tires out, causing the whole thing to roll violently, killing everyone inside. Except for one guy who decides not to slip away quietly, but instead, very loudly, rush into a mall and begin shooting people left and right for good measure. The chase eventually comes to an end, with the criminal holding a woman hostage, saying that he'll kill her unless Dredd agrees to let him walk free of judgment. Obviously, the man doesn't find this offer all that interesting.
I heard you, hotshot.
What?
I said, hotshot.
Dredd, no one finds that shocking anymore. The internet's full of Ghost Pepper Challenge videos. With the opening out of the way, Viscera cleanup detail arrives to take care of the mess, and the movie proper can start. Seems there's a rookie judge, Anderson, played by Olivia Thirlby, who is a special case.
In the academy, her record was never better than borderline. Her final academy score put her 3 percentile points below a pass.
So what's she doing in a uniform?
Diversity, motherfucker, your straight white ass is fired! Actually, while she's an orphan because her parents died of radiation poisoning from living too close to the wastes, she appears to have acquired reliably accurate psychic powers, able to see the unseen and peek into people's very thoughts.
She's a mutant.
Well, if you want to be technical, Dredd, everyone is. That's how evolutionary biology works. The chief judge, played by Reki Iola, explains that despite the laws prohibiting mutant citizenship, Anderson's unique abilities, coupled with being able to pass for a normie, means it would be in their best interest to ignore that little detail, much like her failing grades in the academy. Thus, it's time for her street test, and Dredd's got the honors of conducting it with her. Of course, this test requires crimes to solve, so let's move over to the drug lord Mama, played by Lena Headey. Her subordinate, Kay, played by Wood Harris, just captured a trio of criminals who were selling stolen goods here without Mama getting a cut.
Skin him. Toss him over the balcony. Hit him with a little slow-mo first.
Sure.
Slow-mo. Great name for a special effect-inducing drug. I guess bullet time was a little too on the nose. So we get more slow-mo eye candy, which, as far as I can tell, were designed to take advantage of the fact that this movie was filmed in 3D. Fortunately in the, ooh, look at that depth of that scene manner, and not the throwing shit at the general public style. Or at the very least, not at the audience's faces. This happens right before Mrs. Anderson is tasked with choosing a crime to investigate for her test. So, on a whim, she goes with that triple homicide in Peach Trees. You know, one of those mega blocks where everyone lives despite how shitty it is.
It houses 75,000 registered citizens. It has the highest crime rate in Sector 13, unemployment rate of 96%.
I was wondering how in the hell a society could function with 96% unemployment. So I decided to Google it. Didn't find anything, but I did see an article that was saying that unemployment numbers are 96% bullshit. There's also the anomaly of the homeless guy, which I can't explain, because it looks like far more than 4% of the motherfuckers have money for housing, food, and entertainment. That's not the real mystery here, though.
It's a coal burn from a slow-mo inhaler.
Slow-mo?
Only just hit the grid, but it's making big waves.
Fortunately, they have some help with the local paramedic, TJ, played by Diobia Obari. Fucking hell, what country's this guy from? England. Okay. Anderson is able to discern based on the brutality and public visibility of this murder, it's a means to control the population through fear. But fear of who? TJ answers that quite confidently, that it's the Mama clan. Before you ask how could he know, he explains. Seems this megablock used to have 3 warring gangs with roughly equal coverage through the levels until Mama showed up, and like the protagonist from Saints Row, took out all the rival gangs until the entire block was under her control.
How'd she get away with it?
You know how often we get a judge up in Peach Trees?
Well, you got one now.
Highest crime rate in this sector, but judges don't go there, and this is within Dredd's jurisdiction. Fucking hell, Plot Fairy's working overtime here. Amazingly enough, the paramedic happens to have the inside information as to where the local branch of Mama's clan operate from, and provide Dredd with the information. This means he can show up to murder the fuck out of them, whilst they get high on their own supply, providing ample special effects to gawk at. It's like some unholy concoction of Far Cry Blood Dragon Hotline Miami and Sniper Elite. After killing the fuck out of half of them, the remainder is cuffed and prepped for prison. However, while working on Kay, Anderson sees something.
Sir, it's him.
Him who?
The man who murdered the people in the atrium.
Hey, great job, Anderson. Yeah, sure, we got this huge, well-funded gang who controls this entire mega block. But, you know, you found the one guy, you found the grunt who pulled the trigger, so fuck, charge him, job's done. Thus, the plan for Kay changes from a few years in a box to a night of interrogation. Thing is, Mama doesn't much want that, but she has a computer whiz on her side, played by Domhnall Gleeson. He's tasked with convincing Sector Control that Peach Trees just so happens to be doing some drills right now, so don't pay any mind to strange calls for help, and definitely don't send backup. But in order to pull this off, he must rely on his charisma stats.
God fucking damn it, Sector! I put in the notification myself 3 fucking times! We are good to go right now. I've got my supervisor.
Plot Fairy? I'm gonna need some help on this one. As luck would have it, Sector Control is very easily convinced to just go along with it, and they get the all clear for the drills. As such, he activates the War Drill, which locks the whole mega block down.
All residents remain calm.
Well, at least that does take care of the inexplicable homeless population. After all the reinforced shutters shut, Mama takes to the intercom to deliver her villain speech. Simply put, there's 2 judges and she wants her minions to kill the fuck out of them. If you aren't a judge or a gang member, just leave this movie for the next hour or so because we've already paid enough for the extras. Don't worry though, Dredd doesn't take this lying down.
Control, we have a situation developing in Peach Trees. Do you copy? Control, do you copy?
My comms are down too.
But damn it, the armored shutters block their cell phone signals. I don't think it's that they were particularly designed to do that, but this is the dystopian hell future. Do you really think that Verizon has coverage like that? But it's time for action. Or exposition, or kind of both. As Anderson is still being evaluated, Dredd asks her for the course of action in every encounter, giving her the chance to explain to the audience what the hell all the toys they pull out do. They've got everything from gas grenades to remote speakers / flashbangs.
10 seconds to comply.
Fuck you, Judge.
You got 5.
Thanks for the heads up.
You would think that the psychic powers would have come in a lot more handy than just one scene by now, but as luck would have it, bad guys are incredibly stupid. Thus the two of them lay waste to the room full of Mama's clan members, but there's still a problem. Seems TJ here doesn't much like the idea of having the clan track him down to play a game of Gore Pinata, so he refuses to grant the judges access to the hospital. This means there's nowhere safe.
Switch weapon to silencer mode. Our best bet now is to go covert. Conserve ammunition. And don't shoot unless you're gonna hit.
But most importantly, we need to put these on. It doesn't take long for them to run into trouble, but hey, you know those psychic powers Anderson has? They finally kick in again, letting her know the name of a woman in one apartment, and knowledge that she wouldn't check the peephole before opening the door, allowing them to hide, and peek out to make sure the coast is clear. Also, to get them the hell away from her as fast as possible, she lets them know the elevator at the other end of the hall will bring them to floors 75 and above, thus she saves her family from the judges. Except for the small detail that Anderson already killed her husband, but never mind that, she doesn't know. The problem is, Mama finds out, and they track down exactly where the judges are on the security cams.
That's not good.
The being found out part of the extremely spotty psychic coverage part. Well, whatever it is, Dredd decides to split up at this point, but not tell Anderson where he's going. Don't know why she'd need to ask, but never mind. This leaves her alone with Kay, so they can talk about her psychic abilities and how powerful they are.
Like, what am I thinking about right now?
Picturing a violent sexual liaison between the two of us in a pointless attempt to shock me.
Actually, it was just to pass the time, but okay.
If I was trying to shock you, I'd have been thinking about this.
What are you thinking about now, huh?
I don't know, maybe a Return of Godzilla review, but that's neither here nor there. Mama's plan to take out Dredd and Anderson seems to be simply shoot the ever-loving fuck out of the part of the block they're in. This is made possible by the fact that she has 3 goddamn Gatling guns shooting the shit out of that section. This means while running for his life, Dredd gets back in contact with Anderson, rendering that split-up kinda pointless, but that's not the point. While the Mega Block has impenetrable armor plating covering its windows and doors, turns out that the walls are about as sturdy as reinforced corn pops. It does give the two of them somewhere to escape to. I mean, sort of. They can't jump down from here, but they finally get a signal and call for backup. Fortunately, they shouldn't have much of a problem getting out of here, as Mama and the gang have run out of ammo for the Gatlings, and all they do is send in a small group of grunts to make sure that they find the bodies. The grunts, of course, too blind by the dust to shoot back, and Mama taken by surprise that this movie wasn't over in 45 minutes! The extreme tactics that Mama is using against Dredd and Anderson include Dredd into the fact that Kay is far more important than he first realized. Unfortunately, beating the fuck out of him does little to loosen his tongue, but what's this? Anderson's our handy-dandy psychic judge, and doesn't have to use such crude methods to get a peek into his mind.
Do what I like.
Sure. Thinking about hurting me doesn't actually hurt me.
Figured that would shut you up.
Hey, I can play mind games too.
And I really like how they do the mind-walking thing, or whatever it's called, the dreamlike state when you're using the psychic powers that is different enough from reality, and reality when you're high off your ass. One ridiculously fast flash of scenes later, and...
Peachtree's is the manufacturing base for all the slow-mo in Mega City 1. Mama's controlling the production and distribution across the whole city.
Considering it's got the highest crime rate in the sector, and all the slow-mo is being shipped directly from here, I'm kinda surprised you didn't track it down earlier and literally needed a psychic to figure this out. Nevertheless, as backup is on the way, Anderson figures they should just lay low until they arrive, then start the climax. Problem is, of all the gang members to find them now, they end up being held at gunpoint by a couple of kids. And you can't just kill kids!
How do you want it, kids? Body bags or juve cubes? Makes no difference to me.
Man, these Happy Meal toy choices are getting downright presidential. Don't worry though, Dredd just stuns the little bastards. Unfortunately, though, Kay took this as an opportunity to get the jump on the psychic. Anyway, he takes her right up to Mama, who quickly comes up with an idea to kill both the judges and make it look like a simple failed drug bust. Later, because the corpse needs to be fresh or something. First things first, they have to find out where Dredd is hiding and shoot the ever-loving fuck out of the dead guy he propped up as a decoy. The incendiary shot looks like a mix between Dragon's Breath and the 4th of July. I would have just called it freedom! As most of her henchmen are well done at this point, Mama comes up with a new strategy to deal with that judge problem.
Call 911.
I don't think giving yourself 2 hours to prepare works when he's already in the building. Oh no, this is summoning a specific group of judges who pass by the other judges that Dredd and Anderson called in stuck because they can't get past the shutters. Seems the new group has no problem entering and dismisses the other two. This introduces Judge Lex, played by Langley Kirkwood, Alvarez, played by Edwin Perry, Chan, played by Carl Fanning, and finally Kaplan, played by Michelle Levin. More importantly, TJ comes out to tell them all what happened and how the Mama clan is at fault for everything. Didn't he say he had a bomb? He said he had a bomb! Thought he said he had a bomb. Surprisingly, this is not normal judge activity, and in fact, these are corrupt judges, working with the Mama clan, brought in effectively as bounty hunters to take Dredd out for a smooth mill. 4 judges against 1 would probably be too much for him, so of course they split up like idiots, and completely fail at being deceptive on top of it.
2 of us called in the 1024. Wondering why you didn't ask about the other one.
The truth is, I've always loved you, Dredd. Not even coming up with the easy answer of we already got her, Judge Chan just freaks out and is beaten to death by Dredd. Oh, speaking of death, they finally got around to remembering there was pretty much no reason whatsoever to keep Anderson alive, and thus Kay has been tasked with being alone in the room where there is no way he could possibly fuck up this execution. And in case the only one even remotely surprised by this, even in the Dredd universe, isn't this common knowledge? A minor explosion is no reason for anyone to go check on things, allowing Anderson the opportunity to escape. Around this time, Dredd has found the lab they're using to make slow-mo. Taking the size of Mega City 1 into account, this is an incredibly small operation. Must be a really damn efficient manufacturing process, but it does hit a snag when Dredd starts shooting people. But then, Judges Lex and Alvarez show up to take him down. Normally this isn't a problem whatsoever, except Dredd has run out of almost every ammo type he's got.
Incendiary. Armor piercing. High-X.
So that leaves 2 judges after them. One facing down Dredd, the other hunting Anderson.
I'm your backup.
Jesus Christ, Anderson, did you go to the academy or just play a lot of CSGO? Obviously, it was her psychic magic actually working when she needed it to, amazingly enough. I'm just funning. The point is, with Lex well-armed and Dredd backed into a corner, it doesn't take long for him to be injured and at the mercy of the corrupt judge. At which point, Dredd begs for a little more time. Lex finds this entire concept so laughable, he stands there and monologues about it, giving Dredd plenty of time to wait for this to happen. I understand, though. I mean, after they killed all the rest of the corrupt judges, Lex was probably feeling pretty lonely. It happens to bad guys all the time. Looting his corpse allows Dredd to reload his weapon, but Anderson's not doing quite as well, as losing her sidearm technically means she's already failed her evaluation, and she knows it. Still, she's determined to see this one through to the end, getting the code for Mama's private bunker from tech support before letting him go, because fuck it, if you're gonna fail, fail spectacularly. Now that they have access to Mama, Dredd just shoots the bitch, then forces her to take slow-mo, which kind of fucks up her ability to coherently plead in regards to her crimes.
Defense noted.
But hey, it means the climax can end on more shiny, sparkly special effects all over the screen. Therefore, happy ending! Mama is dead. Or dying. Dying incredibly slowly, but it's pretty, so it's all good. And both Dredd and Anderson survive the night in peach trees. This means they live long enough to give a police report.
Perps were uncooperative.
So how did she do? She a pass?
She's a pass.
Knew she would be.
And despite her failing the academy and doing things on her evaluation that are considered an automatic fail, she still gets to be a judge. Don't know if this is because Dredd thinks she's honestly that good despite all of it, or that he just knows that they're down for and they kind of need people to replace him. But anyway, that was Dredd. And it's entertaining, but very damn different from the first movie. The obvious response to that is, yeah, Decker, the first movie was shit, and this was good. I don't know, though. The first movie was entertaining, if a bit on the crazy side, but it did feel like stepping into a different world. Not nearly as much of the setting this time around felt as distinctive as either the comic style or making its own. That's likely the fault of the smaller budget, of course. This was made on a budget of $35 million versus $70 million for the '95 movie. Adjusted for inflation to 2012, that's like comparing this movie's $35 million budget to a film with an effective budget of $110 million. Not exactly playing in the same ballpark here. And don't get me wrong here, the movie still looks good, it just doesn't look all that different from a movie set in modern times. I do like the focus on a smaller scale story. I'm sure there's subtext that Mama's control of slow-mo could spread to the whole of Mega City 1, but that's still not the huge earth-changing family secrets and twists of the universe storyline we had in the '95 movie. This time, the main tension is not if the world will still be here tomorrow, but if Dredd and Anderson will live, and truth be told, that's enough to get plenty invested. Overall, Dredd is a well-acted, fun ride set in the Judge Dredd universe-ish. It's got the kind of situations you'd expect out of the comic, just not quite the spectacle outside of drug-induced special effects extravaganzas and some kick-ass gunfights. While I think it could be better, it's clearly a massive step in the right direction, coming in at 4 It's Rainin' Men Pranks Gone Horribly Wrong out of 5. No, I wouldn't expect them to up the budget of a sequel anytime soon. Not only because sequels generally are made for less money, but this one took about a year to make back that $35 million, so yeah. It's not so good. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado. And remember, it makes perfect sense for the judge's guns to fire bullets, or frickin' smoke grenades, or dragon's breath, if the judges use judges.
Hey, I can play mind games too.
You fucking bitch, you sick